Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Dallas in the house from PPN, Everything RV News, everybody. So please, if you have a question for Dallas, please feel free to raise your hand, and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast. Or if you have a question for him and you can't speak, please put it under the comment section on the wall where his picture is, and I will read your question at some point as well. Also, too, everybody, if you hear a bit of an echo, because I'm hearing it right now, I am in my new studio, so I have been in the process of moving. So bear with me a little bit, everybody. I do apologize. I want to thank you for your patience because my weekly shows this week have not happened because I did not have internet. And so I wasn't able to have Field or Derek Johnson on Monday, and John Baxter was out of town in New York City because he's got some. Because as he told you last time we were on, his company is going public, so that's super exciting, everybody. But Field will be on Friday, and then Derek will probably just come back on his regularly scheduled every 2 weeks, and then of course everybody, Captain Kyle, please keep him in your prayers. He is home. He is on his new journey of healing. I don't know what happened with that, but I got a message and it just threw me for a loop. I was speechless, and then as I got more information, my jaw just dropped to the floor. So apparently they think that he was poisoned. And for those of you that were on the prayer vigil, you probably heard it. It wasn't good. So apparently he went septic and all that stuff. So, but he is home now, everybody. He is healing. So please, please, please keep our captain in your prayers and his family, because he will come back stronger from this, everybody, and he will come with the fire. Trust me. So God has him here for a reason. We all know that. We all know what his journey has been as well. So please keep him in your prayers, everybody. This just goes to show you the little shysters that are out there trying to hurt the good ones. And Major Freddie as well, I think a week or two prior to that had something happen to him as well. I don't know if he's poisoned too, but everybody just please be careful. So know that we are out here on a daily basis putting our our feet in the forefront, if you will. This isn't easy for any of us, but we want to do this for you, the people, to give you the best truth and knowledge that we feel like that we have researched, been told. So please bear with us, give us some grace. Because this isn't an easy task to do, but we are doing it because we love our country, we love you, and we want to help we the people as well. As we know, this is all about the children. So again, keep those gentlemen in your prayers. And also to everybody, please be careful what you follow. I am not joking when I say this. It is absolutely brutal out there. Brutal. So many people just going to the left and just fear mongering, scaring the shit out of people, blackpilling. Don't do it, everybody. Stay out of the noise, because I'm telling you this, for all that noise that they're trying to distract us with, there's so much good happening. And even though that I've been a little bit out of the loop a little bit, I know there's a lot of great things happening. And so please, everybody, stay out of the noise, tighten up that circle, be careful who you follow, who you listen to, and what you're putting in your mind, because I'll tell you what, if your mind's not prepared for it, it could get you twisted. Also too, if you get a random text from myself, somebody saying they're myself, Captain Kyle, SG Anon, Derek Johnson, all of us out there saying that it's us, know that it is not us. We will not randomly reach out to you and ask you if you're ready for the scare event, your finances, or any crypto. Please block, report them, let us know so we can make sure that they are not here in our channel and we can get them out of here. Also, everybody, if you come in late to the podcast, you can listen to the podcast on the podcast host and the social medias, which are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. And the social medias, everybody, all of them are verified, and I am doing that for you guys, so you guys know that that is my legitimate account. The three that aren't verified yet are True Social, TikTok, and the Revival of America over on YouTube, just because YouTube's fairly new. True Social, I don't know, it's been taken for a while. And then TikTok, I just haven't requested it because honestly, I don't get on there a lot. I just forget about it. But the ones that are verified, but these are the ones that I tell you today. These are my legitimate accounts, the ones that aren't verified. So just know that. So Jenny Dreed Facebook, at Jenny_Dreed X, at JDreed Rumble, at JDreed Instagram, at JDreed True Social, the Revival of America right here on Telegram, the Revival of America on YouTube, and last but certainly not least, TikTok at the official JDreed. So go, if you're not following any of those guys, go check him out, give us a follow, and then that way you can get the latest updates on the podcast. Also, too, if you have a story or a journey, everybody, that you like to share and get it onto the show, please feel free to reach out to me at the Revival of America at yahoo.com. We will get your voices heard and your story heard. And remember, but your voices matter, and your stories, your journeys are going to help shape the new world that we are walking into. And last but certainly not least, everybody, check out the website. It's a work in progress, but at least you can sign up for the newsletter so you can get the weekly updates on the show lineup, as well as the updates on the new podcasts that come out. And that is revivalofamerica.com. So with that, everybody, we'll wait for Dallas to get in the house. Maybe he's here. Let me check it out. Also, to everybody, Friday, Field is going to be talking more about 9/11. I did put something on the wall with Tucker Carlson, and he was interviewing a gentleman, and he's going to be talking more about that. So please come and visit us on Friday, and that will be 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So with that, everybody, oh, there he is. Dallas, are you here? Hello, how are you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
barely. No, barely. Can you hear me? You're supposed to be at the
Check
top of
one
my
two.
list right here. Why are you down at the middle? That's weird. Can you hear me,
Can you hear
Dallas?
me now?
No, barely. Are you on a headpiece or something? Uh-oh. You might have to go out and come back in. That's weird. He normally comes at the top when he comes in. Everybody hang in there. Maybe Dallas had to leave. Let's see. Also, to everybody, if you don't know, we are being listened to in over 100 countries, so we are making some noise. So please feel free to, if you want to, share this podcast with family and friends, because they're just not getting it yet, and they may not ever get it until they see it. But just give them some of these podcasts, because we have a lot of great information and good people coming on giving some truths here
Can you hear me now,
and
though?
encouragement always.
Hello?
All right,
Hello?
Del, there you are. Speak now.
Yeah, can you hear me?
You're very low. Let me see. Can you get thumbs up if you guys can hear him? Good. Thumbs up, everybody. If you can hear him, okay. Saw Scott in here. Scott, Fort Worth. Your mic is unmuted. Can you hear him okay, or is he kind of muffled?
He's still
Can you
kind of
hear me
low.
now?
No, he's better now.
Okay, Scott, you sound great. Okay, go ahead. Say something, Dallas.
Hello? Hello? Check one
Uh,
two.
yeah, but you're still low. Normally you come in loud and clear.
Let me try to reset something. I'll be back in.
Okay. So Scott, you heard him okay on your end?
He was a little low, but I could hear him. But not like I'm
Yeah.
hearing you. Not like I'm hearing you right now.
Okay, yeah, you sound great. Okay, yeah, because we want to try to make the sound as great as possible, because we do have those people that like to complain about the sound, which is unfortunate. But do you hear an echo within me? Because I'm in my new studio, and it's I don't have anything up on the walls or anything yet.
It sounds like you're in a bare room, but you're still good.
I'm in a bare room. Thanks, Scott. All right, let's see where Mr. Dallas is. Bear with us, everybody. This is always fun. I want you guys to be able to hear him, because he hasn't been on, everybody. It's been a month, because he canceled last time because Trump was speaking that day. I can't remember. What was? Oh, it was Liberation Day. That's what it was. All right, hang in there, buddy. Is he here? Dallas, are you here? Dallas, when you come in, say something, because you were kind of down at the bottom of my screen, so I don't see him. All right, Scott. Well, you and I want to talk while we're waiting for
Okay.
Dallas
Can
to
you
come
hear me
back in?
He's
now?
on.
No. Oh, there you are. Speak, speak, speak.
Can you hear me? Hello?
You are so low.
What is happening?
Turn your volume up. Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's your phone.
Oh, that sucks.
Nebraska lady, I'm gonna unmute your mic. Let us know what you're hearing over there, because I he's very low. Go ahead, Nebraska lady. Can you hear Dallas okay or no? Nebraska lady, are you there? Hit the blue button in the middle of your screen.
Here,
Okay. Can you hear him okay?
he's pretty low.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I just wanted to double check. So he's gone out and come back in. So we'll hang in there, everybody. I promise you we'll get started soon. But I want you guys to be able to hear him because it's been, like I said, it's been a month since we've talked to Dallas and see what kind of information he's got for us. So hang in there, everybody. All right, Scott. Anything in your world you want to share while we're waiting?
No, I think everybody is on pins and needles right now, and I'm hoping that Dallas will be able to get people to rest easy.
Yeah, me too. A lot of people are just tripping out, especially about these tariffs. They're
Can you
not.
hear
Oh
me?
wait. Oh my gosh, you sound so much better. What'd you do?
Okay.
Get on your computer?
No, I just turned my phone off and turned it back on and stopped using my my little microphone thing.
Okay, so that's what I've noticed, especially like with Captain Kyle and stuff, because a lot of people like to do these in their cars or, whatever, and they're using their earpieces. So yeah, the volume unfortunately does not come in very well. But Captain Kyle went and got one of those little microphones that you pin on your shirt. So he comes in loud and clear when he does his podcast in the truck. So that's good. And
Right.
yes, by the way, Dallas, regarding Captain's and continue prayers for Captain. He is home recovering. As you know, he was poisoned, so it wasn't good. But he is home now on the mend. So keep praying for him, my friend.
Do they have any specifics on how and with what? And
You know what? I was asking Kelly, his assistant, and they don't at this point. But I'm sure they're probably going to look further into it. But from the prayer vigil, I unfortunately was not able to get on there because I didn't know that was all going on because I was in the process of my move.
yeah,
And I got obviously the message from you and got Kelly and I got on it right away. She was telling me about it. And then somebody, was it you? I don't know. Was it you that told me that? No, somebody told me that he went septic and they rushed him right away to the hospital. I'm like, I mean, my mouth literally was on the floor when I heard all this. I literally was in tears. I just could not believe it.
yeah. Well, the I told you that with David Icke going down last month, and then man, the
Straight.
conspiracy world went conspiracy. So
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of scary.
but I do know this. I do know that the spiritual warfare, the spiritual attacks are heavier than I have ever been aware of. You know what I mean? There's a lot of my life where I was just oblivious. Not I don't want to mean that I wasn't spiritual, but I have and had an amazing ability to just put my head down and just barrel my way through whatever horrible things were happening. you know, Good, bad, or indifferent. I just would just kind of put my head down and just kind of plug along until at some point I'd kind of pick my head up and be like, oh, where did the storm go? But I'd be just riddled with arrows and darts and slashes and cuts because again, I'm speaking hypothetically or kind of visually, but the spiritual warfare that was going on, I didn't know. Just life has always been a little hard. And I just, it just got a little harder. But now that I am paying way more attention spiritually, and I'm trying to not go through life with my head buried. So that's kind of what I ended up doing in the past is I just kind of plowed over and through things and through people. And I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it intentionally. I just was trying to get to the other side of whatever this battle was. And I'm trying not to do that way. So now the spiritual warfare is at a pitch that I have never seen. I mean, everyone that I know personally is going through some kind of physical, emotional, financial, spiritual struggle. I mean, I don't know of a single person that isn't facing something right now. And I think it's not to be super cute or coy, but the calm before the storm, like it's what's what's about to break loose is going to be, it's going to be the other side of this war, this spiritual war. So it's kind of like the darkest before the dawn kind of thing. Um, that's what I feel. I feel like the attack is so heavy because the enemy knows that if we get one more day or 2 more days or 3 more days or whatever it takes down the road, we're gonna pop out on the other end of this, and it is full blown victory, and he will never have a foothold again. And he's trying so hard. He being the enemy, the devil, is trying so hard to just get a few of us to crack or crumble or give up or surrender. Um, and we just can't. We have to grab each other's arms, lift each other up, and just keep pushing forward because we're so close to the finish line. Um, I believe.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that whole unity thing is huge. We need to hold tighter onto each other, like more now than ever, right? So let's talk about all that, Dallas, because it's been about a month, since you've been here, because it was Liberation Day, I believe that you were scheduled,
Yep.
and obviously everybody wanted to see what Trump had to say, which I understand. So here we are. A lot has happened, and I mean, I don't even know where to start. I know there's a lot of fear mongering going on out there, a lot of blackpilling. I mean, serious fear mongering to the point where, we have people out there saying that millions are going to die. And I try to tell my audience all the time to stay out of that noise. I mean, we've already unfortunately been seeing people passing away because of whatever it may have been, right?
Hmm.
Situations. But again, things aren't always as they seem. Just like that helicopter crash that we saw over there in New York City, the wreckage that they pulled out of there was not the same helicopter that they were boarding.
Yeah.
So, I just want everybody to know, and maybe you can help put some people's minds at ease, whatever. That not necessarily just about the fear mongering, but in general, in your world with the RV, and because people are, it's being said out there that people are saying that it's not real and it's a hoopla. So there's just so much going on, and I understand the distractions. They want that divide. They want us at each other's throats, and I mean, we're seeing that. I mean, I'd be a liar to say that we're not, but we are. But
Hmm.
if you can maybe talk some on this stuff and just kind of put some people's minds at ease.
Well, I mean, it's kind of one of those weird things where I, I think it might help if I just share my point of view. 'Cause I'm going to share my point of view from somebody who has a fairly good understanding of it, but at the same time has has come to the very stark reality that nobody knows. Nobody out there claiming to have, deep inside information or knowledge or, my sources said it's going to go tomorrow at 2:15. No, no, none of those people know. I mean, that's the reality from what I have observed, and some of the people that I've had the opportunity, not always a pleasure, but an opportunity to talk with, is that people that are in some of the claim to be in some of the highest level meetings know about as much as we do. They just know a little bit more about a specific part of the whole process, and it's not a one part process. This is a very complicated, very detailed, very large scale operation. And I don't even mean, I just mean if we're just talking about the RV, right? The revaluation, the GCR, the global currency reset, to reset the entire global economic system. It's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of, compliance, non-compliance, um, you know, uh, oh, I forgot to do that update, and so the, it seems odd to me, and I've shared a little bit of that on this platform that, I mean, I get told complete opposite stories almost on a weekly basis. and and these are from people that theoretically should know, right? I mean, they should have way more inside information than I do. And one side says one thing and the other side says the other, and they tend to contradict each other 90% of the time. And then the reality is that what we find out is about half of what each of them said is true. And so, you know, you say it all the time, Jenny, and it's funny because you say it, and I'm like, yeah. But then it just hit me that what you say almost every podcast that I've ever heard you on is find the people that you resonate with, find the people that you trust or that you believe you can trust, and just stay the course. And you can listen to other people, but if they say something that is completely opposite of what your person or your people that you trust and you follow are saying, then you don't have to dismiss it like, that's not, but just compartmentalize it. Just like, okay. And I've shared this with you guys. You know, I've been told that the whole RV process in the United States is complete. It's not bunk, but it's not even remotely close to what's been explained to us and the process and the 9 stages and all that stuff. But I'm still going to go through the process, but I'm going to go through it with my antennas pinging at the highest level. And if any part of it feels weird to me, like if they try to force me to sign NDAs before we've had a conversation, if they try to, take all of my currency at one time, I'm going to raise, that's gonna ping those red flags. And so, um, but I don't believe that that's true. But at the same time, I'm not going to completely dismiss it because I think it'd be to do that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we lost you for a hot second, but you're back.
Yeah, I got a phone call. Sorry. But find the people that resonate with you. For me, and I'll just be honest with you, the person that shares information that I tend to I put a lot of faith in is Mark Z. We have completely different sources on most of our stuff. But some of our stuff, through the years, I've realized are similar. We have some mutual contacts, but most of the information comes from completely different sources. But I follow him. I'm not gonna. I try real hard not to name names, and I've worked real hard to not be that guy because God told me at the very beginning of this that I'm not a judge. That's not my role on this planet. My role is truth and salvation and uplifting is what my job is. But there was a call last night where it was basically alluded to. There was a very small meeting that took place in the Oval Office in the White House, and that particular person was there. I mean, that's kind of what was alluded to. I don't think in a million years that part of the story is true. Now, I mean, I can't really call them a bold-faced liar, but the way it was presented, I don't think it was accurate. Now, it could have been just, I heard this information and I was slowly raising my hand to say I've been in it 20 years. But um, so you just got to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. You got to look at the fundamentals. Mark Z hits that all the time. Like, what is happening in Iraq? Iraq is going to revalue. Now, how that plays out in the United States of America, it might be slightly different than we think, but Iraq is going to revalue. If you have Iraqi dinar, at some point, you're going to be able to exchange it somewhere. If nothing else, go to an airport or go to exchange centers or currency dealers like in Texas. And I realize every state is different, but in Texas, in most of the big malls, there are currency dealers. And I went and I bought some dinar from one of those currency dealers. So I know they sell it, which means they have to buy it back. and these are well funded, little booths. They're little kiosks, but one way or the other, we're going to be able to redeem it. It just is what are the stipulations, and are they going to tax it and all this stuff. As of right now, they cannot tax currency exchange. They would have to change the laws in the state in order to tax it even at a state level. They would have to change the laws, which as of today hasn't happened in any state. Now, are they talking about it? Sure, but they haven't passed any laws. So, I don't believe it's going to be taxed. If it is, okay, I mean, they taxed everything else, but we just got to be mindful. We got to have our head on a swivel. We have to be organized, and ultimately we just have to believe, because it's going to happen. It has to happen. They were artificially deflated. So Iraq is going to revalue. The media has been talking about Vietnam needs to raise the value of their currency because, and Trump has said it. And I've said this multiple times on the shows that I've been on the last couple of weeks. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, the last month, really, I guess, really from Liberation Day, you've heard Trump talk about revaluing currency. You've heard Trump talk about currency manipulation. You've heard CNN talk about revaluation, manipulation. You've heard MSNBC. You've heard Fox. You've heard everybody on this side of the platform. But you are hearing about currency revaluation, currency manipulation, currency devalues, right? Or devaluing currency in order to take advantage of trade negotiations and things like that. It is being talked about on a global scale. The BRICS nations are moving forward because they're forcing this to happen one way or the other. It's going to happen. And there's a slight possibility that the United States gets left out in the initial transfer, but we'll still be able to redeem currency or exchange currency. And then maybe we relocate for a few months or a few years until, the United States pulls their head out of their butts. But I don't think that's going to
Also,
happen, because the United States is one of, if not the, I mean, it's 25% of the world's GDP. So they need the United States, but the United States is playing hardball, from my understanding. And it's time for the United States to just suck it up and say, hey, this is better for everybody. Let's just make this thing happen. But, find those people you trust, and listen. You can listen to everybody, but just people tend to um they just jump off cliffs. I mean, somebody gets on there and they say something completely outlandish, and it's not going to go, and blah blah blah, and people just panic and they just jump off the cliff with whoever's saying it. You just gotta kind of trust your heart, trust your instincts, and trust the people that you follow. I don't even know if that helps. I'm sorry, but I hope it did.
yeah, that helps. And two, I also want to put out there too, everybody, when it comes to this, I think what people need to understand is you hear Trump talk a lot about the biggest wealth transfer in human history. So however it all plays out, what they're going to call it, I do believe it's not going to be called Nasara Jasara. It could be the wealth transfer, globally, global wealth transfer, whatever, maybe. I don't know. We have to, be open to that. It may not be called Nasara Jasara. It may be called something different. So
Yeah.
don't be surprised at that, everybody. But, again, like I always say, be careful who you follow, who you listen to. It's not about listening to all these people anymore, because you can get more confused, more like freaked out about what's being said out there. Follow Trump. I mean, because he's really telling you a lot of stuff without directly telling you, because, you can't give your enemy your next move. But he's very cryptic. He's very coded, but he does tell you. So a lot of great things are happening, everybody. So to have some solace in that, I always say, take the big wins, small wins, medium wins, whatever they are, but know that we are winning, winning, winning. They have to continue to distract us, just like that helicopter crash. I do believe that was a huge distraction for what was really going on. Look over here, and we should be looking over there, right? So just hang in there, everybody. Don't get down, get excited, hang on to the positive. Stay positive, because we are winning. So with that, everybody, we're going to go ahead and take some questions. Thank you, Dallas. That was very helpful. I do appreciate you always giving your thoughts and opinions on what you think was going on. But for those of you that cannot speak, there is a comment box underneath Dallas's picture on the wall. Please put your comment under there, and I will read your comment to or your question to Dallas. So I have unmuted a few mics. So Earl, Hal, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question.
Thank you, Jenny. Prayers to Captain Kyle and blessings on you and Dallas and everyone listening. My question is, Dallas, if you have a minimum amount of Zim, I'm saying the minimum, compared to somebody that's got, say, billions of Zim, is the price going to be any difference when we go to the Redemption Center?
To my knowledge, no. The only thing that I've been told that I don't know if it applies to all currencies, but it was told to me in reference to dinar, but the more dinar you have, the more you may be able to negotiate for a slightly better price. But I believe, and this is my opinion based off of, almost 6 years of intense study, that almost every rate is going to be fixed. It might have a little variation, maybe 50 cents to a buck, but that's if you have a ton of particular, particular currency, like, and I don't know what a ton is, right? I mean, I have several million of a couple of different kinds of currencies, but do I have, I mean, I have one currency because it's dirt cheap, Bolivar. I have hundreds of millions in Bolivar because it costs, $100 could buy, I don't even know how much that would buy, but $100, I mean, maybe that bought, you know, 700 million Boulevard, you know what I mean?
Right.
But other than that, I don't have hundreds of millions. I have, single digits and some. I have got double digits in a couple, and Boulevard I have a lot, and Zim by accident I have more than I thought I did. But I think they're going to be somewhat fixed rates. I think the Dong is going to be a fixed rate. The Dinar is going to be a fixed rate. Again, the Dinar is the one, the whole contract rate, right? Contract rate, to my understanding, only is in reference to dinar, and that's the oil for dinar contract. And that's if we have, I don't know if we get access to that number because we're not a part of the government, right?
Right.
We're not the entity that signed that contract. But can I, if they say 6, can I say, well, I heard maybe, it could go as much as 18, is there any way I get 8, or whatever. But ultimately 6 is amazing. Right.
Right.
But my understanding is that it's going to be pretty fixed. So if you got 1 or you got 100, that you're going to get the same rate for, for that, for personal use. Does that answer your question?
Kinda. I didn't know. I heard something about there being a different level. Up, like whales up top, and you're down here. You're going to get a lesser amount. So I didn't know.
And that could be true, because again, what is a lot, right? I mean, there are people that have suitcases full of Zim. There are people that have suitcases full of dinar. There are people that have shipping containers full of some of these currencies, right? Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett bought like $20 million worth of currency. Well, none of us spent $20 million, right? I mean,
Right.
none of us spent well, hopefully we didn't spend $1 million. If you had $1 million to buy currency, you probably could have been doing something else with that $1 million. But that's a whale, right? We're not those people. So are they going to get a higher rate? Possibly, because they have tons of particular currencies. But when it comes down to us, I think we're going to go in, they're going to say the dinar's going for this, the dong's going for this, the boulevard's going for this. Are you happy with that? And we have the right to ask, but I don't think we're going to get to negotiate. And it goes back to what I've said from the very beginning. If they decided to give us 10 cents on the dollar for every dollar of currency we had in foreign currency, it's going to be more money than we've ever had ever in our lives. Probably more money than we could have ever earned in our entire lives. So let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's be grateful and thankful and go make the world a better place. Because what's coming with the fair and equitable market, what's coming with these 6,000 patents, most of which are in the health industry, we're going to be able to take part in the next revolution of the world. And we're going to have disposable income, so we can invest in some of those companies. And you could take, a small return of a couple $1 million and turn it into tens of millions or hundreds of millions just by investing in the right companies, investing in these new technologies, investing in, 0-point energy flying cars, replicating machines, the med beds, God willing. Those exist. At some point, they're going to go public, and we can invest in those. And, I mean, so I think it's just a little bit of perspective, but we just got to wait and see. Because, as I said at the very beginning, what I have learned is nobody really knows. nobody really knows the rates until they're pseudo published, right? I mean,
Right.
it was stated on a call last night that Iraq revalued in country for 6+, but it didn't show up on the Forex this morning. So did it really revalue? You know what I mean? So we just gotta wait and see when it actually hits and goes public, and then make
Yeah,
adjustments from there.
I heard the same thing. The QFS, is it real or is it just another engine?
I've heard two different statements, and ironically, one particular group has told me two different things. Right? Um, I believe that the QFS is the most advanced blockchain tracking system ever put together for finance, so that it protects our money, it shields our money, it protects um, people from doing. It doesn't protect them from doing it, but it makes it very, very hard to do nefarious things once this new blockchain QFS technology is fully released and fully implemented. And all currencies are asset backed, which is how they code them. Um, is it exactly how it was explained, all those years ago, where we're going to have a separate account? And that part I don't quite know, because I've been told, something pretty not opposite of that, but not quite that advanced. Are there going to be alien beings at the redemption centers reading our vibration? I don't think so. I mean, I'm not saying that aliens can't exist. I don't know if that's a practical thing. Are they going to use biometrics to link our accounts to our person, our individual, coding? Yes, I believe. I don't exactly know how. Is it going to be a fingerprint? Is it going to be an eye scan? Um, but I believe, I've been told that it is a very advanced form of blockchain digital tracking to help protect and shield the world from nefarious activities. But we just have to wait and see.
Well, thank you, Dallas. I don't want to take up any more time. Let somebody else get in. Thank you very much, Jenny.
Thank you, Earl. Thank you for always being here. And I agree with you, Dallas, with that blockchain thing, with that you were just explaining to everybody. So I agree with you right there. Okay, BKRV and MedBeds this year. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Dallas. This is my first time on a live show, and thank you for Jenny for doing this, and Dallas, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
I have like a couple, 3 quick questions. The first question is, you had said earlier that you could take your dinar and go to any location to do your exchange. So that made me wonder, do you still believe strongly that there will be an RV specifically where we will get emails to go exchange?
I do. I don't know if we get emails. I don't know if we get a 800 number. I was just simply saying that if something happened and Iraq revalued and it went international, but something delayed or interfered with us getting the notifications and in country, then we would still be able to find a way, right? I mean, there's legal ways to do it, because like I said, even when Iraq was under sanctions, I went to a currency kiosk inside of one of our malls and I bought dinar, right? It was under sanctions. It was Section 8 or whatever, Sector 8, and I still bought it. So, and I could have sold it back to him. Now I would have sold it at a loss, but I could have sold it back to him. So there's going to be ways if something interferes, but I believe wholeheartedly, because I do talk to people that claim to be directly connected to the redemption centers, and so I believe in redemption centers. I believe we're going to get either an 800 number, 800 number or website to go register and then get an 800 number. But I believe it's coming. But I was just simply saying that if this trade tariff shenanigan that's going on in the world, specifically between the U.S. and China, if that somehow interrupted the United States from taking part in the RV, we would still be able to redeem our currencies. It just may not be for as much or the way or the process that we had originally accepted. are, thought to be true, but we just got to figure that out when it comes. But that is a worst case scenario. I'm not planning, and I don't think that that's what's going to happen.
Okay, and the second question is, I follow Mark Z to the T, and I trust him, and I trust his news, and that's why I listen, because it's the news is what helps to display what's going to be happening. And he said, as of this morning, that he is expecting and hoping that it will be before Easter, and if not, shortly after, but he really thinks it'll be before April the 22nd. What are your thoughts? Do you think that everything's looking like it could go by then?
Yeah, Mark and I talk not a ton. I mean, we've talked a couple times over the last couple of weeks, but um, really more about something completely unrelated to the RV. But I am hearing very positive things on the bond side. Um, I am fairly confident that they have pulled all of the bonds out of Reno, and they have moved them all to the Asian markets and the European markets, specifically Zurich, Switzerland. And there's all kinds of talk about them getting liquid this week, right? It's supposed to be last week. I believe a few did, none that I know directly, but I believe a few did because Marcus talked pretty openly about it. But I think this week is a big week. And I do think that for some reason, and I heard several weeks ago that, Easter was kind of like, that's the new back wall. But I think that I'm hoping that in the next few days, because we got what, 5 days until Easter, that we see some pretty significant movement.
Okay, and then the last question. Oh, and I did want to put this in. I'm on dialysis, and as of today, all blood draws and all monthly blood draws have been halted until further notice. And I'm kind of wondering if we're getting that close to the med beds. But the last question is the Bolivar. I know that there's been a big situation with Venezuela and the president of Venezuela, and he's not good, and that there is a possibility that Venezuela will hold off until later. Um, and I know that Mark is really iffy about it, but what are your thoughts about the Bolivar going with the rest of the currency?
I tend to think that all of the unrest in the world, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the GCR and the, Nassar and Jassara, is that all of that garbage kind of ceases in order to take part in this. And if you don't take part, then your country is literally doomed, because the whole world is going to a new financial system, a new, transferring system, a new tracking system, a new, everybody else is going asset backed. And if you're not a part of that, then you are literally going to be kicked back into almost the Stone Ages when it comes to finances. And so I think that the country of Venezuela is going to do whatever it has to be a part of this. But we just have to see if it gets delayed. I don't think it gets delayed, months and months and months and years. I think it gets delayed long enough for them to get him out and get somebody new in, and then they get to go, 2 weeks later or a month later. But as of right now, I tend to believe it's still in the picture because I think that's part of the plan. But again, we just have to wait and see.
Okay, thank you so much, Dallas, for answering my questions. And Jenny, thanks again for letting me speak. And I hope you both have a wonderful day.
Awesome.
Thank you, BJ. Thank you for
Hey,
being here.
Jenny, I
Yes.
do have to cut this off at 4. I have another very important call to get on at 4 my time. So
Oh,
I'm sorry I
okay.
have to rush it, but I didn't know about the call until about 1 o'clock today. So
Okay, no worries. All right, real quickly. So since we were talking about the Boulevard, we have a question here on the wall, and it says, "What are your predictions?" Hey, real quickly, hold on a second. What are your predictions on the Boulevard? Thank you both for all you do.
yeah, I'm the idiot that said it out loud because I just didn't know better. But I was on a call almost 3 years ago now, 3.5 years ago, with the person from Venezuela that had contacts in the government and in the military, and they said on a live call, it wasn't a private call, it was a live call, that it was going to be $3 to $5 face value, straight up. No, no 39 cents for this year and 40 cents for this year and $2 for this year, because that's too confusing. They have too many variations of their currency and it's too complicated. So they were just going to make it simple and just go. Most recently, I've heard anywhere from 22 to 39 cents, which still is an amazing rate if because the Boulevard is so cheap. Nobody bought, the gentleman that was on before, you might have bought 100 trillion Zim because it might have cost you 2 or 3, $400. But the Boulevard, the Million, the Sobranos, I mean, at one time, Banknote World had those things for 49 cents a piece. So even if you had $10, well, you just bought like $200 million worth of Boulevard. You know what I mean? For $10. So, but we just got to wait and see. Even if it's 49 cents or 39 cents, I mean, that's a huge rate of return, considering that most people spent, a dollar or less, maybe $2.50 for a 2020, Digitali, but I believe it's going to go for 3 to 5 is what I was told. And we just have to wait and see.
Thank you, Dallas. Okay, real quickly, here's another one I'm going to read on the wall. I think it's kind of important. It says it's from JP. Rumors are President Trump stopped the RV from going again. Are you hearing anything about this as well? What are your thoughts? Please, I hate to think that this is true. Thank you to all.
That's what I've heard the last 2 times. It was Trump and his team that stopped it 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then last week. It makes me angry too, but I don't know what the truth is, and I don't know, I don't know how valid that is, but that's what I've heard.
Thank you, Dallas. Okay, Blue, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question.
Thank you, Jenny. Good to see you, Dallas. Just curious in your thoughts on, when Trump was with Bugatti yesterday or the day before, and one of the questions asked was about Iran, and Trump's response was delay, delay, delay. They always want to delay. Do you see any of that correlation in this delay that you just spoke about? And then secondly, I find it kind of interesting that folks don't really understand tariffs. When we're talking, they're scared of tariffs. They don't realize without the tariffs and the trade deals and the trade deficit, we don't get a revalue. Can you talk about that a little bit? And thank you as always, Dallas. God bless.
Yeah, there are definitely people and countries delaying. I just don't know. I don't know if it's the United States. I don't know if it's Iran. I don't know if it's Israel. I don't know. I mean, I heard Germany thrown in there today. I heard some of the states in the United States, specifically Washington, Oregon, and California, the banks have been dragging their feet on getting ISO 222 compliant and Basel III and Basel IV compliant. Why they would do that? I mean, I understand why, because they don't want to have, well, they don't have the assets to back up the deposits. And in order to do that, they have to liquidate a lot of their stance, which is what they use to buffer themselves from downturns in the market and interest rates and things like that. So it's putting the banks on the threshold. But the reality is all the banks are either gone or going to be gone one way or the other. So they're just, kind of, to put a image to it, it's just dumb old white guys that are trying to maintain power, and I don't mean that to be racist or anything like that. I just visually, that's what I see. I see old crotchety, bankers that have been in power and been in charge for decades. And they know that as soon as they make these adjustments, they're going to lose power. They're going to lose their stance. They're going to lose their position, and they're just dragging their feet. But, again, either you go or you don't go. And if you don't go, then you're going to be left in the dark. As far as the tariffs, I mean, this is every country in the world has been charging us tariffs for decades. And, it's kind of a proud, made in America, but there's almost nothing actually made in America anymore that's made start to finish, right? A lot of cars are finished or manufactured, put together in the United States. Even Hyundais and Honda and Toyota, have some big plants in the United States. But most of our clothes come from China or India. I mean, so tariffs are put on the price of the production, not the price of sale, right? So if Nike puts their manufacturing plants in China to build their shoes, well, it costs China $10 per shoe to make the shoe. Nike turns around and sells it for 250, $300. Well, the tariff is on the $10. It's not on the $220. So the tariff, now it's 250%, but 250% of $10 is $2.50. So now the price goes up to $12.50 instead of 10. And Nike, and what really sucks is Nike is going to take that $2.50 tariff and bump it up by $25. And so if the tariffs aren't the enemy, the enemy is the big corporations that are going to then triple or quadruple the tariff and then pass it on to the consumer. If Trump can avoid that, then these tariffs are going to make almost no difference to retail prices. But if the companies pass it on, then that's where it affects us. But we haven't charged tariffs for, we're the largest importer of goods in the world. And we're paying for everything that we import, we pay for. We're just trying to get a little bit of that back. And I just, and I have one of my friends, I've talked about it on PPN. One of my friends I went to high school with, a smart guy, but he's been arguing with me for 3 weeks on the tariffs. And he puts all these, college, economic professors that have never been in the real world. They've never had a real job, corporate job. And I don't mean teaching is not a real job, but they've never had a real job in the real economic sector of the world. And so they sit on their high horse and they preach this like perfect textbook version of economics, but we all know that's not how it works, right? I mean, I taught food safety in the state of Texas for almost 10 years. Well, I had to teach, by the book, right? This is what you do. This is how you do it. But in the reality of life, sometimes you skip a step or you cut a corner here because, you got to get that plate out to the consumer or whatever. But, the idea is to just generally do things the right way in the real world. Whereas when you're a teacher, you have to teach from the most, rigid version of whatever you're talking about. So these people that don't understand tariffs and don't understand economics is because they're listening to people that have no real world experience in the field, but they're considered to be experts. And the reality is that if you know anything about economics and anything about tariffs and importing and exporting, the difference is minimal because, again, when Trump was talking about a minimum 10% tariff, some were 25, some were 30, some were 40. But, Japan charges the United States an 800% tariff on rice that we export out of the United States to Japan. But and they've been doing that for 20 years, 2 decades. Nobody's ever even batted an eye at that. Canada charges us tariffs, upwards of 100 to 200% on almost everything we export to Canada. But for some reason, if we put a 40%, tariff on them or a 25% tariff, we're going to destroy the market. It's the silliest thing I've ever heard. And I don't understand why people are so blinded, but they just, they're MK Ultra'd by the mainstream media.
You got to understand it's a short-term pinch and a long-term gain for us here in the future. All right, Miss Sloan, Dancing Queen, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Okay, hi. Thanks, Dallas and Jenny. I just had a quick question because I had heard about the banks have been taken over and they are now owned by the U.S. Treasury. Does that include home banks that are by family businesses? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're talking about private, kind of regional
Yes.
banks. To my understanding, no. The banks that have been taken over are the what I would call like the big four. So Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, Third Fifths is one that I hear about all the time. I've only seen 1 or 2 of them as I travel across the country, but not the privately owned or the mom and pop banks.
Oh, well, that's not good news for me. Yuck. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
All right, Kevin Hickey, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Ask Dallas your question.
Dallas, I have some gold through a too big to fail bank that that's where my rollover IRA is. About a year ago, I bought some gold and silver, and they transferred it to a Brinks vault. What I'm concerned about is a Dodd-Frank bail-in if that were to happen. Now, I'm kind of new here, so maybe this is not a good question, but I just want your thoughts on that. Could they bail in my coins? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah, if it's been a safety deposit box within the bank.
It's in a Brinks vault.
I
But
would
it-
contact the vault and ask if it is an independent holder or if it is owned and operated by one of the big banks. If it is, then I would look at transferring it, either into private storage. I have a safe that I bought to keep my silver in and gold in, or look for a third party independent vault. Miles Franklin has, I think they have 13 or 14 of them across the United States. And you don't have to necessarily buy it through them. You can just transfer it to them and they'll store it in their vault if you would like it to be stored there. But I would just make sure that what the vault that Brinks has it in is an independent vault and not a corporately owned vault.
Okay, that's good advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, here's one on the wall from Julie G. Do you think there will be caps if someone has over 5 million of VND, 6+ bricks of Bolivar, agro checks plus 10, 100 trillion notes of Zim? Should they be giving it away? Thank you so much. I always look forward to listening to you.
No, that is fear mongering, and most of the people that are saying those things are selling you trusts. If you have more than 2 Zims, you got to put the others in trusts, and you can only put three Zims in each trust. So if you got 20 Zims, you got to have 17 trusts. It's you got to listen to what's around the fear mongering, right? It doesn't make sense to me that, oh, well, you have too much, we're only going to give you X. If they say that, that's one of those red flags, right? If they say, well, you have 10 million, but we're only gonna give you the exchange for 5. Well, okay, I want the other 5 back. You know what I mean? Like, give me the 5 back, and I'll go figure out a different way to do it. But there's nothing in me that I've heard that says they're going to limit how much we can get based on what you have. If you have it, then that's what it's worth, right? Whatever number they tell you, multiply that by whatever you possess, and that's what they should give you.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, here's another one from Mari Love USA. Question: Mark Z said the Boulevard would not be in the first basket. What is your take? If true, should we exchange it at the bank as Tier 5 or set an appointment at the Redemption Center? How do you know the second time redemption appointment? How do you know the second time redemption appointment? Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. I mean, Marcus said that he doesn't know one way or the other, but he has a feeling, right, that it may not go because of the unrest with the president of Venezuela. If it doesn't go, then you have a few options. You could put it in a multi-currency account that would be put together probably at the Redemption Center, where you can put it in there, and then whenever it revalued or went up in value, it would just automatically exchange. Or you just hold it. You just say, okay, I'm not turning that in. I'm going to hold it, and then you just pay attention to what's going on in the world of market and the world economy. And when Venezuela gets a new president or prime minister, I don't know what they call them, but then look for it to revalue. But it's once this goes, right now everything is cloak and dagger, right? Nobody's actually sharing the full truth if they're sharing the truth, and nobody's really saying what's going on or what isn't going on. Once this happens, then the whole thing is going to come to the open, out in the open, and there's going to be no more reason for cloak and dagger and secrecy and the false claim of NDAs. I've grown to despise the word NDA because it's used and taken out of context so much, right? I mean, it's just silly. Oh, you guys have a verbal NDA because we're on a private call. No, I don't. I didn't sign that. If you haven't signed an NDA, you don't have an NDA. There's no such thing as a verbal NDA,
Exactly.
right? Yeah. Now if I'm on a call and somebody says, hey, this is just for your information, please don't share it. well, I'm not under an NDA. I'm just under my oath. And it depends on whether I'm a person of my oath. If I'm a person of my word, then I'm not going to share that information. If I'm not a person of my word, then I'm going to share that information. But I'm not, you can't sue me for violating an NDA because I didn't sign an NDA, right? I mean, but I am a person of my word. So I typically don't share when I get told things like that. Or I wait until it's made public. Somebody else shares it. And then I say, well, so-and-so said, and it's not me divulging the information because somebody else did it. But
All right, here's another one. How are you doing on time? We got 5 more minutes, so you gotta
5
go.
minutes.
All right, you got it. How confident are you that the RV for our Tier 4B is indeed real and coming this year? That's from Red Hat.
I'm as confident as I can be. I mean, it's again, if we get to the end of the year and Iraq hasn't revalued, then there is something catastrophically wrong with that country and the leadership of that country because they are literally throwing away billions of dollars of revenue by not revaluing. And the fact that they've thrown billions away for 3 years now is just shocking to me. I can't even fathom what blackmail or what's being held over some of their heads to stop them from going by themselves. But I believe with my whole heart that this is the year.
All right, here's the last one for you from Vanessa Kraft. Thanks everyone for all you do. If I have a ZIM of 100 trillion 2008, is it worth value? Also, I hope to meet you in person someday. My daughter lives in Denton as well. I have on my bucket list to go to your church that you speak so highly of when I'm visiting. So that's from Vanessa.
Well, that would be awesome. It's Essential Church. You can go to etribe.org and you can watch the services online, but we would love to have you in person. I'd love to give you a hug. 100 trillion does it have? Yeah, 2008, 2009, AA or AB are the ones that were specifically pinpointed by the Chinese elders to bring the humanitarian efforts into this equation. So it's not just about profit and gain and the rich getting richer. It's about any and everybody having access to one, increase their wealth, but also take that increase and then pour it back out. So I believe wholeheartedly that they are a part of this and that they will be worth value.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Dallas has to go. Unfortunately, he gives us 90 minutes of his time typically, but he's got a call he's got to get on to. So, Dallas, we'll see you back here in 2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Dallas. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. And everybody come back for Field McConnell on Friday, and that'll be 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. God bless you, Dallas. God bless everybody here. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Thanks,
Bye.
Dallas.